Hello everyone, welcome to today's session on critical reasoning. First, let's look at what are we going to do today. So these are the things that we have in our mind. We will first do 5 memory based questions of critical reasoning, and these questions would be based on previous year's papers. Okay, memory based questions from previous year's paper. And in the process, now these 5 questions are of different types. So in the process, we will also understand how to handle these types of questions in the right way. Okay, and at the end I will give you some bonus tips of how to handle critical reasoning as a whole. Okay, so this is what we are going to do today. Now, as I told you that we will be doing questions of different types and how you should be approaching these questions. Now, if you want to understand the concepts behind it, I would suggest that you definitely check out our critical reasoning playlist, because in that we have discussed all of these and more, and there are a lot of practice questions also that would enhance your learning process of understanding the whole concept of critical reasoning, especially from the perspective of banking exams. Okay, so now let's start with the first question. We will take the first question and we will see what type of question it is and how do we handle those kind of questions. Okay, right? So let's start. Now the first question is on your screen, so I'll suggest that you try it out first and then understand from my explanation. Done? Now let me explain. Which of the following arguments is strong in respect to of the given statement? Now this is what has been asked, right? So what is the statement? An apple a day keeps a doctor away. This is the statement, and it is written instruction given by Health Ministry of India. So the statement, the whole statement is that the Health Ministry of India has given an instruction which says an apple a day keeps a doctor away. So very small statement, nothing to do post-mortem of. We will directly go on to the arguments. It says every individual should consume an apple daily to keep himself fit physically and mentally. So the question was, which of the following argument is strong in respect of the given statement? Now it's a strong argument question, that we understand. Now on what basis we will identify the strong argument? You see, whenever we are supposed to find out whether an argument is strong, which essentially means that the main idea or the main statement, a strong argument will always support it, would be parallel to the direction of the main idea. Okay. Now, obviously, when you study in detail, as I have taught in the types of critical reasoning class 1 and class 2 in the playlist that I mentioned earlier, you will get a clear-cut idea of what exactly are the steps that you do it. But in the exam, there is a time pressure on you. So we will try and do these questions very fast. So how do we do these questions very fast? By implementing smart ways of solving them, right? So what would be a smart way of solving it? So whenever it's a strong argument question, the argument cannot be in contradiction to the statement, isn't it? So it has to be in parallel, it has to be in consonance with whatever the statement says. So when I say an apple a day keeps a doctor away is the instruction given by Health Ministry of India, so every individual should consume an apple to keep himself fit physically and mentally. Is it parallel or is it in line with the statement that has been given? Yes, it is. Okay. Now if I give this statement, will it support if I give this argument, will it support the statement that if everyone should consume an apple daily to keep himself physically and mentally fit, then the instruction given by Health Ministry, does it make sense? It makes sense. So one definitely is something that is there. Real juice of apple flavor should be banned as it is contaminated with harmful chemicals. Now, please tell me, even if it is true and even if it has to be done, has it any link to this statement? No, it has no link to this statement, right? Just because the word apple has been used does not make any sense. There is no intrinsic connection between the statement and the argument too. So 2 is eliminated. Now if 2 is eliminated, this is eliminated, the option number B and option number D is eliminated. One is there, to consume an apple daily by every individual is not possible as it is costly in summer season. Well, now this is, please understand, we will have to support the statement. Now, supporting the statement, again, this particular argument, the third one, is irrelevant to the health minister's instruction. Even if it is costly, the health minister can give that instruction. Okay, right. So, 3 does not make any sense to the overall statement that has been given. So, 3 is again eliminated. If 3 is eliminated, my dear friend, option number A and option number C is also eliminated. Now, I am left with only none of these, and that has to be the answer. Even if one is something that was there as an answer, I will have to mark none of these because I do not have only one. But you have doubts and you want to read 4, you can read it. An individual can be healthy by taking green vegetables and alternative cheap fruits. Now, a lot of students who would make a mistake is that they would think that because apple is costly, we should go on with green vegetables and alternate cheap foods. So, this is the problem, this is the solution, right? It could have been the solution. 4 could have been the solution if the problem was in the statement. If the problem was in the statement, the problem is another argument. It is not in the statement, right? It is one of the competitors of 4. Okay, so for all practical purpose, I cannot take 3 and 4, one after the other and prove that, okay, these 2 makes a strong argument. Now, these 2 makes a strong argument together when juxtaposed with the statement. But what the question is not that together what makes strong, individually what makes strong. Now, individually only one makes sense. Clear? Right? And only one is not an answer here. Therefore, none of these should be the answer. Now, we will move on to question number 2 and 3. Because question number 2 and 3 are both is a set of questions. So, the instruction is similar and the questions differ. So, take your time. Done. So, this is the question number 2. Let's read the common instruction. According to the study, air pollution accounts for 1 out of every 8 deaths in India. India has one of the highest annual average ambient particulate matter PM 2.5 exposure levels in the world. The effects of PM 2.5 are more dangerous than any other particulate matter, as these particles with a size equal to or smaller than 2.5 mm can easily get into the respiratory tract and settle in the lungs, and some may even get into your bloodstream. So, this is the question, this is the instruction. What is the question? The question is, which of the following does not support the fact found in the study? So, what is the fact found in the study? That PM 2.5 exposure levels are increasing in India and the negative effects of PM 2.5 has been mentioned, right? So, air pollution accounts from 1 out of every 8 deaths in India. So, air pollution is increasing and India has one of the highest annual average ambient particulate matter exposure levels in the world. This is fact, and then they go on to explain how PM 2.5 is unhealthy, right? So, I'll have to find out of 1, 2, 3 which one does not support the fact. So, it can be either that these amongst these 1, 2, 3 there is 1 or 2 more than one which is against the fact that has been stated here, or which is neutral. So, let's look at it. At least 11% of, Acha, what kind of question this is? This is a supporting and weakening argument kind of question. So, let's read the first one. At least 11% of premature deaths in people less than 70 years of age is due to air pollution. So, this is giving a data, and this data is in itself supporting the line of argument that has been created in the instruction, which is that India is one of the more polluted countries and the negative effects of pollution is being seen in India already. So, one supports that. The life expectancy in India will be increased by 1.7 years if pollution levels will get lower than minimum levels associated with health loss. This also supports. So 1 and 2 supports. So this cannot be the answer. This cannot be the answer. This cannot be the answer. Now I am left with only 3 and none of these. There are total 7 cities of India in the list of top 20 world's safest cities to breathe. Now, this is something which does not go in line with the argument that has been presented in the paragraph. If India is one of the most polluted countries, then how come out of top 20 safest cities India to breathe, India has 7 cities? Does not match, na? Right? So it's not only it does not match, it is little weakener in nature with the overall argument that has been presented in the general statement. Right. So 3 is definitely something which is not supporting the fact that has been found, that has been mentioned in the statements. So only 3 should be the answer in this case. Clear? Right? Okay. Now, so what are we doing? While understanding the argument, we are making an image of the argument in our mind. We are creating a flow of the argument in our mind, and then we are reading the question and checking with the options. We are checking with the options whether this would fit in there or not. And that is the way you can answer these questions faster. Right? Obviously, these questions cannot be answered as fast as vocab questions, but 45 seconds to 50 seconds these questions can be answered, and sometimes these questions has more weightage, and that time of 45-50 seconds would be well invested. Right? Next. Question number 3. Done? Now, the same paragraph, what it says is which of the following are not in line as per the above statement. So, similar kind of question. Similar kind of question. We'll have to read the options. The rising population will further increase the vehicle growth, and so emissions will increase to a larger extent. Does it make sense? Does this argument and the statement have a causal relationship, cause effect kind of relationship? So pollution is increasing. If there is rising population, then further pollution would increase due to the reason of vehicle, right? Does it make sense? I mean, is that in consonance with the kind of argument that has been presented in the paragraph? Yes, it is. So 1 is in line with the above statement. Second, the switch to public transport is needed to resolve the situation of air pollution. Now, though it is seeming to be a supporting and weakening kind of argument, once we are reading through the options, we are seeing it is not. It is more of a, this particular option is a kind of course of action option, right? So this kind of statement is a kind of furthering the argument option, right? So see, though the main statement, why did I still write supporting or weakening argument here? Because this root of the statement is such. So the root of the question is such that it would seem to be like supporting or weakening of argument. Now, when I am going through questions, I am skimming through questions to decide whether to do this question or not, then at that point, I'm not going to read through the options. At that point, what I'm going to do is just read through the roots of the question. This I have told you again and again in all my lectures, right? So when that is happening, I am not sure that exactly what kind of question it is. So from this, we have an idea that this is a supporting or weakening kind of question. But then when I go through the options, I see, okay, this was a furthering the argument question. This was a course of action question. Now let's see, option, not question, option. Now see the third. There is an emergent need for people to adopt a sustainable lifestyle that relies on lesser energy consumption technologies and equipment. Now, if you see, all of the 3 are in line. They support the line of argument that has been made in the paragraph. So they cannot be the answer because you have been asked what is not in line, right? So none of these would be the answer. Okay. Now, I do understand a lot of you are afraid when none of these comes because you think that, okay, none of these kaise mark kar sakte? How do I mark none of these? There are so many options. Some option might be the answer. but there lies your confidence and the practice that you have put in critical reasoning and the concepts, that whether you are clear on the concepts or not. If the concepts are clear and you have practiced the amount that needs to be practiced, not much but the optimum amount, then on the basis of your confidence you can mark none of these, because you know that there is no logical alternative to it. In this question, tell me what can be the logical alternative. Just for the sake of marking, I cannot mark, na? I'll have to have a logical alternative option, which is not present in here, right? Okay, and that's why people get wrong in critical reasoning a lot of times in banking exams, because they do not have that confidence, and that confidence can only be built through strong concepts and optimum practice, right? So now question number 2, 3 done. Now question number 4, 5. A set of 2 questions, same paragraph. So try it out. Done. So now let me do it. At least 85 forest fires are raging in Uttarakhand and have destroyed 165 acres of land in past 24 to 48 hours, forcing the state to seek centre's intervention. Several sorties of Indian Air Force were pressed into service to spray water over the fires, even as it became clear that the state, with a forest cover of 71% of its area, still does not have an effective strategy to deal with forest fires. So, what's the event? It's a statement of an event. What they are saying is that there was a forest fire, 85 forest fires were raging across 165 acres of land in the last 2 days, 1 to 2 days, and the state took centre's intervention, and therefore Indian Air Force helped to get down those fires. But this also shows that Uttarakhand, having 71% of its area under forest, they don't have an effective strategy to deal with forest fires. Still don't have. Right. So let's look at the question. What a course of action state government should take to deal with forest fire issue, which may prevent it in future. So for happening in future, how can the state prevent it to happen in future? What course of action should they take? So it's a course of action question directly. All the trees should be cut down and it should be made plain areas to intercept fire issues in future. So this is a negative action. Even if it solves the problem, in course of action, you would remember I had told you that negative actions cannot be condoned, right? They cannot be accepted. Okay, so A is eliminated, definitely. So A is eliminated, E is also eliminated. State government should seek the help of one panchayats and local people in checking forest fires and set up fire control rooms and fire stations at tehsil and block levels. This makes proper sense, because this would in future help state government to address this problem at their own level, right? So this makes sense. So B is definitely going to be there. The only effective way to deal with forest fires is getting locals involved to ensure that such fires aren't man-made, and when fires start, enough people are mobilized to fight them. Again, you will remember course of action classes of mine. There I told you that your course of action should be practically implementable in a way that it should make sense in that particular scenario, right? Until and unless it is if it's an ethical problem where you'll have to take an ethical stand. But in all operational issues, your course of action should be practically feasible and easy to do, right? Or no, if not easy to do, it should be feasible. Now, only effective way to deal, the first problem came in only effective way. So you are specifically saying that this is the only way to deal with it. As a matter of fact, in B only we saw that no, boss, there is a way of doing it better. So what is that only way? That get people involved, make a police state, get everyone check out that forest fires are now starting. How much is it practical? And even if it happens without a fire control room, without fire stations, would you be able to douse the fires? Would you be able to manage if the fires happen even after this policing? you will not be able to, right? Then also you will have to take the help of the center and the Air Force. So C does not solve your problem to the level you would want to do, right? So we will go on with B. Clear? Now the last question, try it out. Done. Now which of the following can be assumed from the above statement? This is an assumption question. Now in assumption question, what should we do? That what was there based on which this particular action is happening. So CM of Uttarakhand will resign as a failure to prevent forest fire issues irrelevant. Forest fires in the state is a long-term issue which are from years. Now can I say this? Yes, it can be inferred because the statement says still. The statement says still. So by if it had been an issue, then only you would say still. Na? So two can be an assumption. Then Air Force personnel got training to handle this type of situation. Obviously, that's why they are there. If they had not, negate the assumption. Remember, what did I tell you? If I negate the option of assumption and my statements get negated, then that means that was the right option for assumption, right? To understand it in detail, as I told you, go back to the playlist lectures. You would have explanation of everything in there. So Air Force personnel had a training to handle this type of situation. That's why they were called, right? So therefore, this also makes good thing. So in assumption, always remember what could have been there, and that's why these actions have been taken. These actions have been taken. Why? Because these had been there. Okay. Other states which covers major forest area will be alert and take preventive measure. Well, this is not an assumption. This is a course of action rather. 4 is a course of action for other people, right? So they are asking assumption. Assumption is something on the basis of which actions has been taken in the statement. All the animals in Uttarakhand forest will be shifted to another state forest. Again, a stupid, course of action. Even as a course of action, 5 cannot be validated, right? So only 2 and 3 should be the answer in this case, which is option number E. Okay, right? So my dear friends, if you look at these questions, were these questions very difficult? They were not. But if and they could have been done within 1 minute if you had approached the questions in the right way. I explained you bit by bit why the others are not the answer, why this one is the answer. That's why I took 3 to 4 minutes for each questions. But when we are doing it, when you are going through that mind flow of doing the questions, that can be done within 1.5 minutes very easily. And for critical reasoning, that's a decent amount of time. You should not try and do critical reasoning questions within 20-30 seconds. It takes a little more time than that, right? Obviously, the questions in sets would have taken lesser time because you will have to read only once the argument, the main passage in there. Now, here, so if there was doable, now 5 questions would contribute a lot to your scores in the reasoning section, isn't it? Right? In reasoning section, people will end up doing 4-5 questions. Now, if these 5 questions add on to it, they would definitely give you a huge boost to your score. Right? Now, I will tell you those bonus tips that I told that I will share with you. First, break down the arguments and make a mind map. That means an image of the flow of the argument in the paragraph that has been given to you. Okay, that is one. Second, do not use your external knowledge in understanding the passage. If you have something that you know about that particular issue that has been there, do not use that while solving critical reasoning questions and reading comprehension questions. They would cloud your judgment and you might end up answering it from the perspective that, okay, I know this, so therefore this would be the answer. But in that paragraph that has not been stated, then it would be cannot be determined or none of these kind of answer. Okay, right? Now, use options as a tool to do the question. You saw every time I went to the option, when I saw that one cannot be the answer, I went to the option and eliminated the option, so that my job is now less. I'll have to do less now, right? And that's what you also need to do. That's how you would be able to do questions in less amount of time, right? And finally, do have confidence in yourself, because when you have confidence, then you will be able to mark none of these, cannot be determined, and you will be sure about the thought processes that you have. the clarity that you get in critical reasoning is a function of your concepts clarity and your confidence, right? Concepts clarity you can get from the lectures of mine, but confidence is something that you'll have to build in yourself. Yes, with practice, confidence also builds, but some amount of confidence can be built inherently also, that okay, I am thinking logically. So if I am thinking logically and this is what I am coming out with, this should be the answer. Okay, right? So that was all for today. Thank you very much and all the best. Use this advice in a way so that it benefits you most. All the best.